Our next topic is John Cena at Money in the Bank. He announces that 2025, not this year. There's a lot of confusion that people think, oh, he announced his retirement is done. No, in 2025, he's going to go pretty much on a year-long retirement tour and check off a lot of boxes and do a lot of fun things. And what should be really interesting, going to be probably reportedly going to be a big part of Raw's launch on Netflix, to break new ground there. The first thing before we get into what may be to come, what do you feel is John Cena's lasting legacy? I mean, this is a Mount Rushmore person. This is a huge star in this industry for a long time. Like, when you think of John Cena, like, what are your thoughts on his impact on the professional wrestling industry?
I consider John Cena the greatest face of the company has ever had. Not necessarily the biggest, I would put like Stone Cold, that's maybe the biggest star they've ever had. Hogan was a great face of the company, but I think Cena even surpassed him in terms of like representing the company in a positive light and lasting impact on the business. Like, the dude was a top guy for 15 years, give or take. That's an unprecedented run on top. And we mean like on top. He was the guy for pretty much all of that. A lot of other names came, went in and out. A lot of names that he was rivals with, like Orton and things like that. But like, the buck stopped with Cena for the longest time. And I really think that he presented it in a way that people are going to be trying to emulate for years to come. Like, Cody has talked about how big of a fan he is of John Cena. And I think Cody is following that blueprint of how to be, presentable in terms of outside of the company to other endeavors and things like that, and presenting himself in a way that's, a little more, universal. And it's crazy because, we talked about how reviled he was by a big segment of the fan base while he was in the business. But I think now it's universally recognized that he is one of the greatest of all time. He might have been a little underappreciated in his time on top, and people are going to miss him when he's gone. Like, people have already kind of been missing his presence. When he comes back, he's, pretty well received. So I think that's his legacy, is just he sucked through all the negativity, presented the company in a positive light, and came out looking like, one of the greatest. And I think that's a hell of a act to follow for anybody else who wants to be the top guy following him.
I think without doubt, he's one of the greats. But for me, he's sort of this example of like a frustrating era in the company. And that's it. I mean, we had many conversations for years of throwing around terms Super Cena and all these kind of things, dominant wins, so many wins. But that said, he did have a lot of big losses. The Rob Van Dam at One Night Stand, CM Punk, he had some big losses that helped a lot of people. I just think he's kind of this big example of so many missed opportunities when Vince McMahon lost his fastball. And that's not John Cena's fault. It's just that he was the guy that, I mean, like, we're all looking at Roman Reigns now. It's like, oh man, yeah, by the time Roman's finished, he might be the best ever. And that's because of the heel turn. It's made him one of the great heels of all time, and now he's going to come back as a white hot babyface. Like, that opportunity was completely bungled by WWE for whatever reasons. And without doubt, John Cena was part of the company going public and becoming a $1 billion company. All these things are all important, but as a product at its best, a huge missed opportunity. I mean, Hogan went bad. Like, so many people went bad. Like, that was one of the few things that could have happened that really could have helped revolutionize the business of WWE for a little while with so much freshness, but they just stayed the course. And he was like this big stale piece of bread. Again, he did the best with what it, but in like the getting stale loaf of bread that WWE was for like a good 8-9 years until things started changing more recently. So, I mean, without that legend, but just that, like that, what could we have done if we would have got heel Cena at his peak? And just, it's a shame. It's one of those missed things. It's like, Sting taking forever to go to WWE, and they're never getting Sting Undertaker. Just one of those big WWE legendary what ifs. But moving on from there, that it's a big topic of discussion is who the matches that we want to see with John Cena in 2025. There's a lot of ways they can go. There's obviously that big, matzo ball, the distance of 17 world championship that they go after that, and he breaks the record, all those kinds of things. But I'm going to throw out some names, and maybe you have some other ones too. But for me, Gunther, CM Punk, the Rock trilogy, Braun Breaker to help Braun Breaker take it to another level. Cody, Logan Paul would be fun. Going back to Kevin Owens, that was such a big thing. AJ Styles, John Cena made AJ Styles. It'd be great to visit. Trick Williams is like really kind of that next big star on the horizon. And them interact would be great. Drew McIntyre, this new version of Drew McIntyre. LA Knight, like, what's 5 dream matches that you're really hoping for in this 2025 run to bring John Cena's career to an end?
Oof, man, you know that's a hell of a lineup to bring up to the plate to come through with Cena. But any one of those names would be fantastic. I think there's a couple of names that have to happen. I think Orton needs to happen at least one more time.
Okay,
I think that's his greatest rival, even if it's just
really?
I think so. I really do. Okay. You know, because I mean, you know, Edge. What Cena took Edge to that next level in terms of like heel status, and that's when the Rated R Superstar was at its hottest. Yeah. But in terms of like the number of matchups that they've had and the parallels that they had coming up together and kind of side by side the different trajectories, I think Orton's the guy, and I'd love to see them mix it up even at least one more time, which is so funny to say because that was a rivalry that was burnt out on so many fans when it was actually happening. Yeah, but I think one more would be fun. Same thing with CM Punk. I think Punk being back in the company, Punk's pretty much said so much that he would like to mix it up with Cena one more time. I wouldn't mind. It doesn't necessarily have to be at a PLE. It could be at a on a Monday Night Raw, kind of a showcase match. At least one more time. If he's gonna make somebody, I would love for him to make Braun Breaker. Like Braun Breaker has been on a fast rise. The feud with Sami Zayn has been great. He's the future of the company. Like he's a future world champion. So if it's going to be one feud with Cena to help make a guy, I think Breaker needs to be that guy. Logan Paul would be a lot of fun. I can see Logan Paul and Cena doing one of the Saudi shows and having a little mini feud for that. It'd be a nice payday for the both of them, a nice showcase match, and the same way that Logan Paul had like a world title match in Saudi, and that was pretty much it. Same thing with Cena. Have a feud, have it be at Saudi, and be a showcase match. I don't think the Saudi fans would be mad at that. And for the fifth guy, AJ's on his last tour too. So him and AJ had made magic back in 2016, and to your point, like the Cena feud and the Roman feud made AJ in WWE, and to have them go at it one more time, I think would be a lot of fun. And their match at the Royal Rumble is mentioned amongst one of the best matches of the last decade. I definitely love that match. It's one of those rare. I think they never left the ring once, which is so rare to see. They just mixed it up so well inside. The fact that they got that much chemistry, I'd love to see that one more time. So I think those would be my 5, and I think that's a solid list.
Yeah, I agree with all the, but like in terms of just big marquee appeal, if they don't talk about missed opportunities, I feel like if they don't do the Rock trilogy, that's a missed one. I mean, that's just straight money. They have a built-in thing that they only fought twice. Both have one victory over the other. This final boss version of The Rock versus Cena, retiree Cena. That's God, the magic that could come from that. That has to be a PLE thing that happens at some point in 2025. CM Punk, that just, so many interesting elements of that, and the fact that CM Punk wants it, I think that's a fun match. Braun Breaker's up there. Like I mentioned, in a thing for Ringside Intel, a video CM Punk matches. I mean, I feel like you can't have a match you have to see without having a match with Gunther. I mean, there's nobody, despite him not being a freak athlete, despite him not having a fancy move, there's nobody that's a better storyteller in the ring than Gunther. And one of the things that I turned and changed my opinion, I used to talk a whole bunch of crap on John Cena. We all talked about 5 moves of doom, but this guy, in the end of his career, especially like you mentioned, with AJ, with Punk, with a lot of people, Kevin Owens, this guy can have great matches. I think Gunther and Cena could be phenomenal, on the short level. But
and to add to that, really quick, at that point, Gunther might be world champ, so that could be a ready-made feud to where Cena 17 could come against Gunther. So that would be an awesome feud. Yeah, to your point, I'd love to see that.
Yeah, that's a big one. I mean, there's just so many fantastic options. I hope they really can maximize. I hope he can stay healthy. You never know. There's all these risks as what happens with an older wrestler. We saw with Edge pushing a little bit, but WWE is very smart. But yeah, and another one, Trick Williams. I think this a little interaction between Trick Williams and John Cena will go a long way to very much help Trick in his ruthless aggression with Cena and Angle kind of moment, just to get that rub. Just that would be a big for him. But